Welcome to the Spiritually Embodied Leader podcast. I'm Cynthia Gutierrez, the creator of Embodied Freedom, and I love to help conscious, heart-centered, spirit-led entrepreneurs learn how to regulate their nervous system and move through an embodied transformation so they can start and grow their online business with confidence, authenticity, and aliveness for more meaningful income and a deeper impact. On this podcast, we're going to be talking about how embodiment, mindset, subconscious mind, cyclical living, returning to nature, ritual, and ceremony can all play a powerful role in revolutionizing you and your business from the inside out. Now let's get into it. Hey, welcome back to the Spiritually Embodied Leader podcast. I am so excited. I've been waiting for this moment, and I'm so grateful to share this with you today. There are a few things that we're going to be kicking off with this episode, and I'm just super stoked that you're here. So welcome in and happy summer solstice. We're going to be talking all about that today, along with other things and how you can incorporate the magic and medicine of summer solstice into your life and business. But another thing, happy season 3 of the podcast. At times when I need to take a break and I got to step back and focus on other things, there will be a pause. And I just felt like with this whole transformational experience that I had been moving through, that it just feels like a new season. It feels like there's a whole different realm of things that I'm stepping into, and I get to now share with you as I learn and grow all along the way, so that you can also continue to learn and grow with me as we embark on this beautiful journey we call life. So, another new thing is that the podcast website has gotten a bit of a makeover, and I am loving it. It's super cool. There's some stuff on there for you if you want some new goodies as well. So I will say the podcast looks way better on desktop than it does on mobile. So if you'd like to get the best experience, I say check it out on your computer if you can. And if not, all good, no biggie. And also, there's going to be a special freebie with this episode that I'm going to be including. And I'm just excited because I've been wanting to kind of upgrade the free content that I get to share so that you feel more supported. And it's like you get to implement more of what we are talking about here on the podcast. Because, I mean, hey, we are in the era of information overload, okay? My God. And while it is so helpful to have so much information at our fingertips, what good is it if we don't put it to use and we don't actually integrate it into our lives? Yeah. And of course, all of the information is going to be linked up in the show notes of wherever you are listening to this episode. So yes, cyclical living. I really want to ask you, in your life and especially business, how valuable would it be to stop forcing things and start flowing with your own natural momentum and it actually supporting you and helping you and your business thrive? And I ask you this question because I've noticed that many entrepreneurs are chronically burning themselves out because they're trying to grow linearly instead of seasonally, instead of cyclically. And when you begin to align with your natural rhythm or the rhythm of the moon, the sun, the seasons, right, of this earth, you will see in a very organic manner that it starts to bring more ease, more clarity, and also more potent actions of things that are actually in service to yourself, your business, your team, and beyond. Living seasonally helps entrepreneurs to regulate their nervous system, to build deeper trust for themselves, and to prevent burnout by honoring when to bloom and when to rest. Yeah, and all business is energetic. Whether you're launching a course or you're coaching someone or you're working with your team behind the scenes, your energy will always set the frequency of the container, of the project, of the message and the transformation that you're facilitating. And so cyclical awareness helps you to manage your energy wisely, intentionally, mindfully. So, what is cyclical living? It's represented by the seasons of nature, by the solar and lunar phases, and the menstrual cycle. So, when we look to the seasons of Earth, we have spring, summer, fall, and winter, right? And when we look to the sun, even though it's doing the same thing, the sun is always shining, the way in which we experience it here on Earth has its own cycle. There is the rising of the sun, right? Dawn. There is high noon, the peak of the day. And then there's the setting sun, dusk, as well as the night when there is no sun visible. And when we look to the moon, we have the first quarter, right? The waxing phase. We have the full moon, and we have the last quarter, the waning phase, as well as the new moon when it is completely dark. And looking to the menstrual cycle, we have the follicular phase, right, which is the time after the bleed, okay, for those of you who may not be familiar. The follicular phase, and then you get to the ovulation phase, which is when a person's most fertile. And then it's the luteal phase, and then the menstrual phase, which is the bleed itself. Now, keep in mind that for a person who menstruates, they go through a hormonal cycle every 28 days, okay, which is very much in relation to the moon, right? The moon cycles through its phases every 28 days. So the female body is very much like a physical manifestation hormonally of the moon. And for those who don't menstruate, they go through their hormonal cycles on a 24-hour basis, like the sun, right? They still go through their hormones, but it's through a 24-hour period. And the female body goes through it on a 28-day cycle. Okay, so if you don't menstruate and you're on that 24-hour cycle, I want you to know that you are still affected by the moon. And the moon has a major impact on bodies of water, and our bodies are very much made up of water. And there are so many reports and studies and things of different activities happening on a full moon, right? Things are a lot more chaotic. Also, our blood, is it that our blood becomes thinner on a full moon and thicker on a new moon? I have to look that up. But there are a lot of different biological things that happen in relation to the moon. So even though you don't menstruate, you still are a cyclical being. You are still an earthling. You are still of nature, and you are still affected by these different phases and seasons that show up all around us and especially within. Okay? So I also want to point out where else this also shows up, because we can look to even the life cycle, yeah, and the phases of a creative project or even mundane things. So when we look to the life cycle, there's birth, life, death, and rebirth. If you are into reincarnation and all of that, I am a firm believer in that. So that makes sense to me. And also, if you look to a creative project, let's say you're making a piece of art, yeah, like the song, you're making a song and you want to perform it or something. So you have the creation of the song, and then there's the performance, the celebration of the song, of showing it to others. And then there is like the release of the song, processing after the creation has been made. And then there is the void. There is nothing happening. And this applies to any creative project that you do in life, right? And we can also look to mundane things. Like if, for example, if I wanted to light this candle here, there is the inspiration to have a candle lit. I get a lighter. It's the process of lighting it, right? And then the candle will sit and be lit, right? That is it being on. And then there's the process of blowing out the candle, putting out the candle, right? You see the smoke and all of that. And then the candle is off. It's not in use anymore. So there's the turning on, the on, turning off, off. Okay, so we can really break so many different things of our lives down in these 4 phases. Now, how does cyclical living apply to business? So if we look to the 4 seasons, And how it shows up in our business, we can see the spring phase as the visioning, the planning, right? The brainstorming of something in our business. And then we have the summer phase of the visibility, the launching, actually supporting someone, coaching someone, doing the thing, right? And then we have the fall phase of our business, which is like wrapping things up, completing things, refining them, getting things into the system, tying up the loose ends. And then we get into the winter phase of business, which is the rest. It's like you've completed it, you're already done, you're reflecting on it. And now is the time where you are also evaluating different things of that business, of that project you were doing in your business to then get ready for the next cycle. So hopefully all of that helps you to have that kind of 30,000 foot view of what cyclical living is as a concept, as a way of living. Now, as we start to focus in on summer solstice in this season we have now entered, it's around June 20th, sometimes the 21st. And in the northern hemisphere, that is when it is the longest day of the year. We have the longest day, the shortest night. It is the moment of peak light, expansion, and creative fire. Yeah, it's this natural portal of high energy, of full illumination and amplification, magnification. So this is really a time for honoring your growth and owning your visibility. So for those of us on the northern hemisphere, we are in our full yang energy, right? In the southern hemisphere, they are in their full yin. While we are celebrating summer solstice, they are celebrating winter solstice. And for us, celebrating summer solstice, it's about action, it's about visibility, radiance, expression. This summer season that we have just stepped into is the equivalent to the ovulation phase, right, of a menstrual cycle, where a woman is turned the F on. She is ready to go. She is super magnetic. She has all the energy that she could need to procreate, right? And this is equivalent to the full moon energy, where it's peak illumination. And even in the night, you don't even need a flashlight. You can see everything, right? And this is equivalent to high noon, where it's the peak of the day and it's the most active time. So with this season that we're all experiencing right now in the northern hemisphere, this is a time to get out there. This is a time to connect with people, to communicate, to collaborate, to celebrate, especially to be on, to go for it. As conscious entrepreneurs, this is a powerful reminder that we are here to bring light to the world through our gifts, through our sacred essence, through our presence, and that we do not need to dim our light or stay small in order to be safe. This is a beautiful portal for you to step into with your business so that it can feel like an extension of your soul. Yeah, of that divine light that you came here to share. So let this season reflect how bright and bold that you're ready to be. And as you start to take in this energy and really ride this wave, I want to bring up a couple of things for you to keep in mind that you may need to avoid, okay? Especially for us as entrepreneurs, we love to start new things and we get all inspired and lit up about various things at the same time. I want you to notice if you have a tendency to continue to start new things, but you don't finish them. Okay, because it could be very addicting to start something new, and then as you get going with it and maybe you get to that almost completed stage, or you're like about to like do the climactic thing in that project, but maybe you get a little nervous and then you get distracted with something else. But what about this? Maybe we can add this to it, or whatever, right? And it's like you never actually get to the completion of that thing. You never finally get through the other side of that summer phase into the autumn, into the fall, and then you just keep starting something new, and by the end of the actual summer you actually don't have anything to show for it. I want you to notice if you are making that mistake of getting caught up in the newness of things and constantly starting something brand new when you're actually meant to tend to what's already growing. What in your life do you already have in motion that's waiting to be developed into its full potential, but you're not meeting that need, right? So just keep that in mind on any projects that you already got going, because we are here in the summer. We've already been starting in the spring and now we're in the summer. So just be mindful of not jumping ship or walking away prematurely before you finished that project. Yeah. Now, another thing that's a very common issue in the peak and the height of the summer phase of whatever it is that you're doing and experiencing is ignoring your energy and burning yourself out. There's this disempowering belief that if I'm not constantly producing, I'm falling behind. And so many struggling entrepreneurs who make that common mistake of believing that if they're not constantly pushing and producing and doing, that they're falling behind, that everything's going to fall apart, they tend to have a chronic burnout cycle because they end up feeling guilty for taking breaks, or they push themselves until their bodies and minds hit a breaking point and they treat themselves like a machine, which inevitably leads to unbearable stress, right? Dysfunction, disease in the body. It could very easily lead to resentment in your business with your clients, right? And if they keep going like that, it's no surprise to me if they give up and everything actually does come crashing down. And one beautiful thing that we can look to always that teaches us that that is not true is nature. For example, honeybees. They will cluster together in a very tight ball to reduce their activity so that they can conserve their energy. The queen will be in the center of that ball, and the hive will stay alive because of their warmth and their ability to conserve their energy. It's not because they're constantly productive. So even high-performing, highly productive systems of nature know when to pause. They know when to recalibrate and protect themselves at their core. We could also look to farmers and how they will let a plot of land go uncultivated for a season so that the soil is allowed to regain the nutrients and regenerate itself, which increases fertility for the future crops, right? And it helps prevent the soil from burning out, literally, which goes to show that if you're constantly planting and harvesting, where you're launching and producing all of the time, your own creative soil will get depleted. So that's why it's so essential for you to schedule intentional rest for your business. And well, to not sugarcoat things, if you're constantly making yourself to produce and you don't intentionally give yourself a break, or you only get a break when you finally hit that point of like complete overwhelm, it becomes self-abuse. Think about it. You're neglecting your own needs to the point of dehumanizing yourself because you're being treated like a machine. And to be real, I mean, even machines need breaks. You know what I mean? Like, I came across this one social media post, and maybe you're familiar with it. It was this robot that was like doing stuff for packaging. I don't know. It was like grabbing boxes off a shelf and like putting it on the table. And it said something on the video that after like 24 or 26 hours of working that machine straight, it actually collapsed. And it was very interesting because when I was watching that video, I remember this feeling that I had when I watched the robot collapse. I was like, damn, I literally felt bad for this robot. And that helped me realize something about humanity. Our key capacity for developing awareness and empathy for ourselves and others is what is going to help redirect us back to what is actually healing and supportive. When you practice cyclical living in your life and business, you're going to realize on a very visceral level that if you're not constantly producing, you're actually still making progress. And that goes like beyond the to-do list, okay? You stop producing and take breaks because you're protecting yourself, right? You acknowledge your own needs and you restore your health and well-being, which then becomes a practice of loving and caring for yourself. And when you're able to do that for yourself, you then have more capacity to do that for your team, for your clients, your loved ones. And that is why successful entrepreneurs who run a sustainable business that gives them energy, they understand and care about the cycles of their work, of their relationships, and of themselves. They honor the phases that they're in, and that's how they're able to get to the next milestone and the one after that. They get to have those experiences that they dream of that feel so satisfying and enriching because they actually nurtured those feelings all along the way. not after the fact, but from the very beginning. So let's talk a bit more about the energies of this new seasonal phase that we're in and how you can begin to incorporate it into your life and business. The sun never fails to shine, right? It will always rise to meet us and sustain our life here on earth. Hallelujah. Super grateful. Shout out to the sun. And today is a beautiful day to begin harnessing that radiant solar energy in order to build up your confidence and let yourself shine and be seen. The sun, summer equinox, this whole season is all about bringing us back into our center, reconnecting us to our hearts, and tapping into that creative source that we all have within us. Yeah, it's really helping us to affirm that we're strong, we're vibrant, loving, warm, and filled with light. It's also a time to honor the leader within you and how you continue to express more of your authentic self. This is a really powerful time to stand in the face of your fears, to finally stop telling the stories of doubt and insecurities. This is a potent opportunity within this calendar year, right? This annual cycle that we move through for you to reap what you've sown in the spring, to finally come to a full culmination in the summer, to then be able to harvest the fruits of your labor. So it is time to step out in faith and imagine what's really possible for you here. All right, so now that we have taken that deep dive into the energetic signature and frequency of summer solstice, let's start to really bring this home and apply it within our life and business. So if you'd like, you're welcome to get a journal, okay, something to write on, type in, or if you want to take some mindful moments to really sit with yourself and think through this stuff, now is a really good time, okay? So I've got some journal prompts here for you to reflect on. And of course, please pause this episode as I start going through these questions so that you can really go all in and flesh out the answers for these questions, okay? All right, here we go. So you're welcome to take in a deep breath if you'd like. And begin to shift your attention inward as you reflect on these questions. What part of me is ready to be seen? Where am I hiding my light because of old stories? What would it look like to lead with joy and aliveness this season? And in terms of your business, what offers, ideas, or projects feel like they're blooming right now? Where are you being called to show up more visibly? And where do you need support to sustain your expansion? Awesome. Okay, so I've got some affirmations here as well if you'd like to write these down or repeat them out loud with me. What I like to do with affirmations is to say the affirmation and take a deep breath in and out. And then say the next affirmation, deep breath in and out. Yeah, to really allow it to land and sink into my nervous system. And these affirmations were inspired by the solar plexus chakra, yeah, which is yellow and radiating like the sun and is the powerhouse of your energy system. Okay, so you're welcome to write this down or say it with me. I am strong, capable, and powerful. I stand in my power. I am the leader of my life. Beautiful. All right. So, another thing that I really want to share with you, I think that's going to be such a great companion to help implement cyclical living into your life, is this freebie PDF that I have for you called the Cyclical CEO Planner. It's going to help break down your business tasks by seasonal energy, right? Whether it's your own internal season or the season that we're in externally, or what season the particular project is in. That can be very helpful when you realize, like, oh, actually, I did the thing and now I'm in the autumn season. Like, what do I need to do to best support myself through the autumn season so I can finally bring that project home, right? And how to best begin on a better foot in the next round. And yeah, there is a monthly planning tool, there's a weekly planning grid in there, and it's really going to help reduce overwhelm, to help you stay grounded and connected to yourself and the beautiful natural creative cycles that are happening in your life and business. So please check out the show notes of this episode. You're going to find the link and download it for free, and you'll actually begin to live cyclically. All right. I hope this has opened your eyes to a different, more symbiotic way of living in your life and business. And please download the Cyclical CEO Planner for free. That's going to be your companion in integrating the 4 cycles into your life and business. And I would love for you to take a picture of it and share it on your social media. You can tag me at cynthiagutierrez.coach. All of my information is in the show notes below. And I would absolutely love to answer any questions that you have in my DMs, okay? Please feel welcome. I geek out on this stuff so hard. And yeah, it's just such a huge passion of mine, okay? And remember, you and your business is not separate from nature. Okay, it is nature. Cyclical living is an embodied process of being aware, empathic, and connected to your own natural cycles and the cycles of others, including nature and your business. And may this summer solstice activate you to lead, launch, and live in alignment with your soul's calling. All right, thank you so much. Take great care. Thank you so much for tuning in. May this podcast continue to activate the spiritually embodied leader within you. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to take a screenshot, share it on your stories, and tag me at embodiedfreedom.biz. If you'd like to express your appreciation, please rate the show and leave a review on iTunes. I'm looking forward to connecting again soon. Take care.